All right, folks, September of 1983. We got the biggest issue of TV Guide every year. If you're not familiar, people would casually pick up TV Guide. Maybe you'd grab it at the checkout stand. Maybe if you were hardcore, you'd have a subscription. I think most people would just grab these maybe once or twice a month. But almost a huge amount of people would grab this issue to see what's new, what's coming back, what's going on. So this is the blockbuster issue of each TV Guide, each year for TV Guide. So this is the 1983 one. So any new shows that'll be featured will be brand new shows for 83. So let's go ahead and get into this one. Do you remember what shows you liked in 83, fall of 83? I remember some little TV movie miniseries in 83, but I don't know if we'll see those in here. Looks like you could get a washing machine for $230 back then. You remember these weird thermometers for the microwaves? Maybe they still make those, I don't know. I'm a pretty terrible cook, so I would not know. This is a great snapshot here. Here's what we used to watch TV on. A little 17-inch, 13-inch. This one's a 19-inch. It's about as big as it would get back then, especially in 83, unless you were really rich. Then you got your boom box. What is this? Oh, that's a VCR. Wow. Okay. I guess it's one of those top loader ones. Anybody remember top loading VCRs? I had one for a little bit till it broke. Editor's choice. These might be the new shows, but we should see some page, a full page for each new show, which is what's fun about these fall preview issues. This guy's composing some music and getting inspiration from his cigarettes. Specials. Let's take a quick look. Yeah, that Last Days at Pompeii. I remember hearing about that as a kid. Definitely didn't watch it because, you know, as a kid, you're not doing snore fests like that. But it was a pretty big deal. Maybe like a 2-night thing. Just seeing what else. All right, I don't see anything else that... Another Jerk. I wonder if that's a new series. We'll see. Look at this guy. Yeah, cable TV. I guess some of you might have had cable in 83. We couldn't afford it. But I didn't remember Gina Davis being in Tootsie. That's interesting. That was a big movie for whatever reason. So yeah, I guess they're mentioning some of the popular movies coming on pay TV. Annie was huge. Officer and Gentleman was huge. Honky Tonk Man with Clint Eastwood. I think that's a pretty good movie. All right. Only Atari has so many service centers so close to your fingers can walk there. Best place to find factory authorized service for your Atari video game. It's a pretty cool ad right here. Between Friends. It doesn't ring a bell. Maybe that's like an HBO original or something. Any Between Friends fans out there that would know? All right, here we go. Pretty sure these would be the new shows. Monitor, a new magazine format. Yeah, nobody watched that. People weren't addicted to the news like they are now. This kind of rings a bell with, you know, the Hulk and Mariette Hartley. Don't think this one can't be caught on either, but this looks fun. This doesn't ring a bell at all. The Mississippi. So this was fall of '83. What are they saying about the A-Team? I thought the A-Team premiered before that. Like in '82. Let's see what it says. This is the A-Team from day one. The lively soldiers of fortunes are zipped. So maybe this was the premiere of the A-Team. All right, I got to tell my A-Team story. I think I told one of them. I got to tell the other one. Because we were all A-Team fans. We loved all these guys. We loved Amy. You know, Mr. T was huge. Apparently, George Papard, this old pasty-faced white guy who was already like 20 years too old to be doing all this action, he had such a huge ego that he basically got her fired after a couple years. And for no other reason than he said, well, she's getting too many lines and I want more lines. So the only female on the whole show, and this old guy gets her fired. That's what egos will do for you. I think they might have replaced her with somebody, but nonetheless. Check this out. Cutter to Houston. That's a weird name. Sometimes if you want your show to catch on, you can't give it a weird name like that. But there's Alec Baldwin, and she looks familiar too. I guess that's Shelley Hack, but she's definitely been in some other stuff. But yeah, Cutter to Houston, I never remember that. Dr. Beth, a surgeon, hates it. Small hospital in Cutter. Oh, it's a small town in Texas. I mean, some of these concepts aren't bad. They just may not have caught on, the shows. Man, look at all these shows. So 83, and this is what we learned by going through these. 83 might have been the year of not a lot of good shows that really caught on. I mean, we know the A-Team, but none of these other ones, man. They got a lot of people. Yeah, there's that Hey Vern guy. He's in something called The Rousters. Action adventure comedy about a carnival based in Los Angeles. Again, that kind of sounds fun, but I never remember seeing that. I never remember seeing that show at all. And there's Sybil Shepherd before Moonlighting. So we learned something. I always teach you guys something free of charge. We got Sybil before Moonlighting. I think that's Chuck Connors. And that dude, he's pretty cool. But yeah, nobody watched The Yellow Rose. It's like another Texas type thing. But Sybil looking super fab there. Okay, I was going to say, did they put any other females? Is that, what's his name? Sam Elliott. Yeah, Sam Elliott. So a good cast. But yeah, I don't think that one caught on either. This one did. Come on, we all remember Hardcastle McCormick. We definitely remember that show. That one caught on. Brian Keith is great. Scarecrow and Mrs. King caught on. So we're seeing some hits here. 1983. Man, that timeline on the A-Team, that throws me off, though. I'm confused. But anyway. Yeah, Scarecrow and Mrs. King. I never watched it, but people like that show. He works for a CIA-type outfit. Okay, I didn't realize that. Something called Boone. Looks like a good little family drama, though. That guy's always good. Oh, the Elvis Presley story. Creator of the Waltons. Don't recognize any of those others. We discovered this in another TV Guide, so I definitely never knew anything about this, but apparently when MASH went off the air, they immediately launched this after MASH show with these guys. Father Mulcahy, Corporal Klinger, not dressing as a chick anymore, I guess. But yeah, I never knew this existed until I saw it in another TV Guide that we went through. Emerald Point with, what's her name? Selah Ward or something like that, and MacGyver. And what's her name from LA Law? I could probably look her name up here. Yeah, Selah Ward, Susan Day, and Dennis Weaver. So some military type show. Lots of new stuff in '83. I've gone through a couple of other fall previews, and sometimes there aren't that many new shows because I guess there's a lot of good returning shows that already had pretty good ratings. It's pretty funny how they show all the sizes. I do remember that Naturalizer. Maybe the hook was they have all these different sizes. Saw this in another fall preview. This is pretty useful because it shows you what comes on in prime time every night, and I guess it also points out the new shows. So that's pretty cool. Get some jeans for 14 bucks. Stretch denim jeans. I don't want to see dudes wearing stretch jeans. Just get the size that's not so tight fitting, dudes. It's my life advice for you all. These are the movies that come on cable if you had pay TV. You can watch Mad Max. Something called The Ultimate Warrior from 1975. So not the wrestler. All right, Saturday morning in 1983. Look at Chris Evert looking super cool. Shirt Tails cartoon, Little Rascals cartoon. I've never seen that. I need to look that up on YouTube or something. Monchichis debuting in '83. Let's see what the write-up says. The Monchichis are lovable monkey-like creatures that live above the clouds in very tall trees. I didn't realize they lived above the clouds. And whose happy lives are threatened only by the evil Grumplins. Shows what I know. I did not know all that lore. I just remember the name. Rubik's and the Amazing Cube didn't debut until '83. That is interesting, because I thought that was on before '83. But yeah, my brain is not clear on some of these, I guess. Some cartoon called Jot the Dot. That sounds fun just because of that title. The Littles is debuting. One of my all-time favorites. Let's read the write-up. The Littles, drawn from the children's books, are tiny, long-eared folks with tails. They live in the walls of houses and face human problems. Crazy concept, great cartoon. Puppy's Further Adventures. We're in Indiana, so we could watch Big Red Football. Imagine if you were wanting to watch cartoons like Spider-Man and your dad made you watch some stupid thing about Indiana football. Yeah, back then you probably had one TV in the house. You couldn't talk back to Dad. All right, we're in '83, so on American Bandstand we got Michael Sambello doing Maniac. Great song from a great movie. show called Microcomputers coming on. All right, so I believe, and I can't remember clearly, but I don't think the new shows will be debuting yet. They just be kind of previewing them in this one, and then probably the next week or whatever they would debut. But let's see what's going on Saturday night in '83. Different Strokes, Silver Spoons, Love Boat's still on, and Fantasy Island is still on. Walt Disney, maybe we'll see what that is. Maybe they'll have an ad or something for it. TJ Hooker, that sounds definitely right around '83. I think I remember this episode where Nancy Reagan went on Different Strokes. Gary Coleman was a huge star, I'll tell you, because of that show. Something called Pop Goes the Country Club, and I don't know if that was an Indiana thing or what. Dolly Dingle Fan Club. Are any of you all want to join the Dolly Dingle Fan Club? I can mail you this coupon if you do. Any Donnie Dingle super fans out there? Different Strokes, Silver Spoons. Larry Holmes is fighting against some guy named Scott Frank. There's an amazing video out there of Larry Holmes jumping over the hood of a car trying to like beat up some paparazzi guy. If you haven't seen that, Google it. Larry Holmes jumping over a car. Even if you don't know who Larry Holmes is. So check this out. Love Boat. We got Michael J. Fox on Love Boat this week. That's kind of funny. I've definitely never seen that one. And Barbara Billingsley, that rings a bell. Some movie called Borderline with Ed Harris. Never heard of that. Ed Harris is a great actor. Rooster Cogburn. Let's see who's on Let's see who's on Fantasy Islands. Connie Stevens. Jimmy Walker's on there. He was also on Love Boat. I saw that not too long ago. All right, if you're in Indiana, you're watching Blowout at Billy Bob's. So we got our, what was her name? We got our Dolly Dingle people out there. We got our Blowout at Billy Bob's people out there. I mean, this one's got something for everybody, folks. NFL 83, I guess, I don't know if NFL would have been kicked off by now or not. All right, Sunday night in 83. Got Knight Rider coming on. We got Alice, One Day at a Time, Jeffersons, Goodnight, Beantown. That's that new show, so it is on. Trapper John. Beulah Land. Hopefully we'll see what that is. What else is on though? Oh, it looks like maybe this movie is just on the other channel. Check out this car stereo. I think that's for your car. 79 bucks. They make it look like it comes with speakers. I don't know if that's true or not. Power of Matthew Starr. That's a pretty cool show in my opinion. Didn't last very long. Ripley's Believe It or Not was a great show. Computerized Weapons of the Future. What's this Beulah Land thing? 3-part saga, Southern Plantation. Leslie Ann Warren. Paul Rudd. That couldn't possibly be that guy that's still around, though. Don Johnson's on it. Meredith Baxter Birney. So we got some names on there in that Beulah Land movie. I'm pretty sure this would have been before Miami Vice, so... We got, who else did we see? Oh, we saw Sybil Shepherd, and now we saw Don Johnson. It's a great ad for Taxi there. Yeah, there's that Goodnight Beantown. I think it's supposed to be like reporters at a newspaper or something. Check out Barbara Mandrell looking fabulous as always. We love Barbara Mandrell in the 70s. We had a crush on her. I think she had those sisters too. I think they were pretty popular as well. '1984 Olympic Games preview. That's interesting. Pretty early to be previewing those. September of '83. All right, Monday morning. Got something on HBO called Dolly Parton Meets the Kids, and it says it's for teenagers. There's Cowboy Bob's Corral again. Some children's show called Janie. Look at these guys. Kent and Diane. They're bringing the news in Indiana. There we go. It's great. So these are just reruns in the middle of the day. It was still a great ad. 8 is enough. Taxi. Taxi debuts. So yeah, it might have been a new syndicated show in this market that particular year. G.I. Joe cartoon's already on. That's interesting. I guess '83 would have been when that came out. Any Bullwinkle fans out there? There's something really clever about that cartoon compared to some of the others. Look at Lonnie. We got some more Indiana news people. Yeah, G.I. Joe's in full swing here. I mean, I was definitely all in for G.I. Joe, but I don't remember exactly when the timeline was. NBC All-Star Hour. Hopefully they'll show us an ad for that. That's incredible. Monday Night Football. No Man's Valley. Square Pegs with your girl Sarah Jessica Parker. MASH. I wonder if that's after MASH. Newhart and Cagney and Lacey. Yeah, that's definitely some strong 1983 shows right there. All right, we'll try to see. What that NBC. Here it is. Yeah, look at this. All the great stars. I guess these would all just be people who have shows on NBC. So we got Knight Rider guy, the Hoff, as we know him. We got some people from Hill Street. We got the Remington Steele dude. Pierce Brosnan. We got Sam and Diane. What's the point of this, though? Are they just hyping the shows up? Count them for more than 100 stars with more laughs than you can ever count. Interesting. Vicki Lawrence, not dressed as Mama. Sport Goofy cartoon. That's great. That would be great to see that on regular TV. I only remember seeing those in like specials. I never remember seeing them just regular TV like that. That's the Goofy from Disney doing the sports. Variety show style preview. Okay, yeah, so they're previewing the fall lineup. That's smart. NBC's kind of doing some promos for what's coming on in the fall. No Man's Valley is a cartoon. Musical cartoon assembled by Peanuts producer Bill Melendez. Covey of California condors facing eviction from a cliffside. That's pretty bizarre. No Man's Valley cartoon. Would this be the Dan Fouts era? Soap. Jimmy Walker's also on Cagney and Lacey. He's everywhere, folks. HBO's got something called When Women Kill. What's the verdict on HBO? Yay or nay? Net positive for society or nay? Thick of the Night. There's a snapshot into the 80s. Came on pretty late at night. All right, we're into Tuesday. Another great ad for Taxi. All right, Tuesday evening, prime time. The A-Team, Happy Days, Joni Loves Chachi, Three's Company, 9 to 5, Heart to Heart. That's a pretty great lineup right there. And it looks like one of the channels is just showing a Fantasy Island movie. Interesting. We might see some details on that, some ads. Yeah, I'm confused by this timeline on the A-Team, but who knows. Let's see if we can find those movies, though. Fantasy Island movie. Oh, that's Anthony Hopkins playing Hitler, I guess. That's pretty hilarious. And then here's another snapshot into the 80s. Care Bear storybooks. Look at these guys. Alright, it's like no ads for those movies. So maybe we'll read what's going on with this Fantasy Island. I'm guessing it's just, Yeah, it sounds like maybe the original pilot episode or something. It's kind of weird. But hey, if you didn't catch it, then you can catch it on rerun. Alan Thicke. Wonder what else he was on before. What if he started with this talk show and then became more of a well-known actor? I don't know my Alan Thicke history. It's like G.I. Joe was on, but it looks like maybe Transformers wasn't on yet. I always think of those as kind of being the same timeline. Real People, Family Ties, Saint Elsewhere. Some movie called The Girl, the Gold. Oh, The Girl, the Gold Watch, and Dynamite. That sounds funny. Fall Guy, Two Marriages and Dynasty. Saturday morning preview. So if you all are into this kind of stuff, you should go look for these on YouTube. They do like a half hour where they preview the Saturday morning cartoons, and it's really fun. I've watched a couple of them. So, you know, they might preview the littles and all that, and they got like a host. It's really fun. Just, you know, look for Saturday morning previews. Let's see what else. Waiting to be Wanted. Hopefully there'll be some ads. Here's that Real People show. I don't think I ever watched that. Maybe because Byron Allen was on it. That's a reason not to watch anything. Yeah, here's that Saturday morning preview. So see, they had like Boss Hogg on there, but they were showing you the new shows like Donkey Kong And Dungeons and Dragons, great cartoon, The Biscuits. I don't remember that one. Yeah, so those were fun. I don't know if I ever saw those when they originally came on. What's going on with this Girl to Go Watch thing? Made for TV movie from '81, sequel to the '80 yarn about a magical timepiece. Weird. Lee Purcell, that rings a bell. Bugs Bunny's Mad World of Television. Two Marriages, C. Thomas Howell? Don't recognize anybody else from that. Strategio. I remember that game. I never played it. Guess it was electronic. All right, we're already into Thursday. NFL football on Thursday nights back in '83. Give Me a Break, Mama's Family, We Got It Made, Cheers, Hill Street. That's pretty strong. I didn't realize all this came on the same channel. Too Close for Comfort, Magnum P.I., Simon and Simon. Guess this would be the Bernie Kosar era. We Got It Made. Mickey steps into a dream and causes a riot. It doesn't really tell us much. Coming on at 8. Maybe we'll read the lineup, the write-up. Mickey sleepwalks, lands her in the beds of Panistrick and Jay and Dave. Oh, that's Terry Copley. She was on the cover of one of the other ones I did. You may want to watch Terry Copley in anything. You get my drift. Check out this ad of some kind of Superman storybook. Looking up. Come on at 7. What was that? Oh, I think that was some old movie. Probably even worth mentioning. Yeah, it's the low-budget soap opera. Yeah, like I mentioned, I think most of the shows would be debuting the following week, so that's why it's some of these prime times seem a little slow. Friday night in '83, we got the Yummy Awards. Benson, Webster, Lottery, Matt Houston, Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah, Friday night was pretty strong back in the '80s. There's always some good shows on Friday night, apparently, back then. Yeah, here's the Yummy Awards. This might be kind of wacky. The most lickable awards on television. So we got Fred Flintstone on there. We got Kim Fields. We got the Smurfs. We got Justine Bateman. Probably find this on YouTube as well. Lifetime Achievement Awards. Yeah, it looks like it's kind of having fun. I don't know how they're going to mix the cartoons in with the real people, though. Here we go. Here's some good ads. This is... wish there were more ads like this in this one. Season premiere Benson. New comedy Webster. There's that lottery show. When a winning lottery ticket ends up in the pot from the game of poker, it gets rough. Pretty wacky concept. Alright, so we saw what the Yummy Awards were. Look at this great ad for Matt Houston. The hunter becomes the hunted. At the movies, Friday at 10. Let's see if we can see what they're reviewing on there. Sometimes it tells us, sometimes it doesn't. Prior to Murphy looks at a popular movie comedians. All right, I think we'll see some more premiere shows in the back here. If you've seen my, if you've seen my other ones, you know that. So we got this new show called Just Our Luck. That kind of rings a bell. I think we watched a couple episodes of that back in the day. Yeah, that one didn't catch on. Neither did this one. Madeline Kahn. She's a very engaging actress, though. This reminds me that I need to make some gumbo or some red beans and rice sometime soon. It's going to be better than what this looks like. Bay City Blues. Hello. That's what's her name from LA Law, I believe. Let's double check. Yeah, I'm almost 100% sure that's what's her name from LA Law. It says Michelle Green. I can't remember if that was her name. And a bunch of dudes. That's what's the guy from NYPD Blue, though. Let's read what this is. This looks wacky. It's like a minor league baseball team. Minor league baseball team, Bay City Bluebirds. By the people who brought you Hill Street Blues. 16 or more, attractive, body, grubby, funny. I don't know, that might be fun. I obviously didn't catch on, but sounds good-humored, lighthearted. Anybody remember good-humored and lighthearted? R.I.P. those things. Get some Bacardi here. Drink some rum, watch this show. Whiz Kids. This vaguely rings a bell. Again, a lot of these obviously didn't catch on. But that looks fun just because, you got to put some kids shows on for the kids, man. Can't have everything be cop dramas and stuff. And they're probably trying to integrate, the technology at the time, so it's probably kind of kitschy. Don't recognize any of those actors. Hotel with Connie Selica. Enough said. You're tuning in. As soon as you heard the words Connie and Celica, you were there, just like I was. No, I'm kind of kidding, because this was one of the nighttime soaps, and I was like 10 years old or something. Medstar. Oh my gosh. What do they do? Oh yeah, this was that show with the Hulk. I think this was the one that we always talk about, the golden hour and all that kind of stuff. But I loved it because Ferrigno was on there, man. And it was, it was like ambulances and stuff, paramedics. Pretty fun show. I think it only lasted one season. Yeah, there's Terry Copley, I think. Yeah. So she's not like a well-known actress, but yeah, that's her. She's the one sleepwalking this week or whatever. And then that guy, we know that guy. Here's another show that didn't catch on, but that's why we go through these, because we want to, document stuff that's pretty much been lost to time and will remain so. So that's the girl from Knots Landing, I think. Looks like a family show. There's Ken Howard, right? Yeah, it doesn't look bad, but I guess it just didn't catch on. In this show, we watched this for some reason. I don't know why. He was like a smart 8. Yeah, Mr. Smith has an IQ of 256, which is kind of impossible, I think. But yeah, it's like an insane concept. But for some reason, we watched it. The orangutan that wore a suit and stuff. This is a cute ad here, I guess for bikes. Here we go. Here's one of the blockbusters. So, you know, some of these caught on, some of them didn't. We know Webster's an all-time legendary show. We could drink our Southern Comfort, watch some Webster, watch some Terry Copley, watch some Jennifer Slept Here. This kind of rings a bell too, just because I remember that kid. Let's see what the concept is here. Sometimes the concepts are good and the thing just didn't catch on. Jennifer was a famous movie star. She died 6 years ago, still has a fatal weakness. Her ghosts refuse to move out of Beverly Hills house. And this is a comedy, I think. They didn't really explain what the kid is, but I don't want to read this whole thing because it's pretty long-winded. I'm guessing maybe he's the only one that can see her or something. Crazy as that sounds, I think we watched that a few times back in the day. We didn't watch this, these two dudes. I mean, what are we doing here, folks? I guess this is the one where they were playing poker for a lottery ticket or something. $1 million lottery ticket. Manimal. What was she in? She was in something else. Oh, she was in that movie with Lou Gossett Jr. and Chuck Norris. But yeah, Manimal, I guess people like that. I vaguely remember it. I can't remember if somebody turned into an animal or if he could just talk to animals or what. Once upon a time, secret of transforming himself into various beasts. Hey man, in the 80s, they came up with some concepts back then. Here's another new show. So the 83 was packed with new shows. Some caught on, some didn't. For Love and Honor. We got a good mix of people on there, so at least they're giving you something to tune in for. You know, women could tune in for the hunks. We could tune in for these two gals. Public TV. And these would be movies that were coming on regular TV. Some good movies, just probably wouldn't want to see them with commercials. Tarzan the Ape Man. That was a horrible Tarzan movie. So the good Tarzan movie is Greystoke, and the terrible one was that Tarzan the Ape Man. It's like Bo Derek and her husband like directed it. It was basically like a, what do they call that? Not nepotism, but they have another name for just when you're basically your own egos. This is why you're making the movie. Winter Olympics coming on in February. Okay. Might just not want to ride a bike for a couple weeks. All right, we learned some new things as usual. September of 1983 fall preview. See you next time.